And go ahead and turn to page 61 in your grammar book.
I got it.
Okay, good. Let me get mine ready.
My mouse doesn't want to move.
Everything okay over there?
No, it's because my brother's at the bathroom and he's talking to himself.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, so page 61, we're going to talk about verbs again. Remember what verbs are? What are verbs? Say it again.
It's an action.
It's an action. Very good. So it's what someone or something is doing, right? It's the action. Good job. And we already know that finding verbs in the sentence is pretty easy, but there's another thing called a linking verb. We learned that last week or a couple weeks ago about a linking verb. So today we're going to talk about what's called a helping verb. So there's action. You're right about that. That's the main verb. It's an action. But we also have linking and helping verbs. So they are part of a sentence too. So it says here, a verb shows action. It links the subject to another word, or it helps another verb. Week 9, you learned about action verbs. Week 10, you learned about linking verbs. This week, you will learn about helping verbs. A helping verb helps an action verb or a linking verb. The helping verb is always followed by another verb. The words below are helping verbs. So here they all are right here. I'm just going to read the list so you know what they are. Am, is, are, was, were, be, being, been, have, has, had, do, does, did, may, might, must, can, will, shall, could, would, should. Have you ever heard somebody say coulda, woulda, shoulda? Have you ever heard that? That helps you remember what those words are.
That's funny.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda. Okay, find the helping verb in the sentence and then look for the action or linking verb that the helping verb helps. And then when it says to find the subject, you ask who or what is doing the verb. So that's how you tell who the subject is, right? Okay. And then you're going to write V for verb, right, above each verb because it starts with a V. And then S above each subject because subject begins with an S. And here is your example. So Lizbeth, can you read this sentence right here, the example?
The princess would steal to get to the magic bag.
Good. And so steal is the action, right? She's taking it without asking. It's kind of not, well, it is not nice to do that, to steal. And it's a crime too. So you could get in big trouble if you steal. But that is the action verb. And then we have right before it would. So would steal, that's the helping verb, would steal. And then if you ask yourself, who would steal? Who's the subject in the sentence?
The princess.
The princess. So the princess would steal. Good. Okay, so that's helping verbs. And at the bottom here, I wanted you to see at the very bottom of the page, there's a list there too. And that's so that you can look back on this page if you need help with your homework to find the helping verbs, okay? So they're right here. Okay, the next thing we're going to talk about is called that clause. And remember how we talked about a who, which clause before? Okay, so a clause is a group of words and they always have a subject and a verb like princess would steal. They go together, the subject and the verb. But in a that clause, you also will find the word that. And it's easy to find because you know the word that. So that means the word that is the beginning of the clause. Okay, so it says, It's a group of words that begins with the word that and contains a subject and a verb. It must be added to a sentence that is already complete. Place parentheses. Do you know what parentheses are, Lizbeth?
No.
Okay, so if you look ahead right here, you see these little marks like that. Those are called parentheses. They're little curved marks around the words that kind of group them together. Yeah, like that. Exactly. So place parentheses around that clause and write that above the word that, which is easy, right? You're just copying the word on top of it. And then you're going to write V above each verb and S above each subject. So here's your example. So read this sentence right here, Elizabeth.
She knew that she wanted the magic back.
Yep, good. And do you see the word that on yours? And then they put parentheses right there by that, and then all the way to the end after bag. So the whole clause, the that clause, is that she wanted the magic bag. That whole part is the clause. And so see how they wrote that above the word that? They copied it right there on top. And then we have the subject is she and the verb is wanted. Okay, so that's how you mark it in the book from now on. And it says that clauses do not take commas. So we don't have to put a comma in there. You just put parentheses around it. Okay, do you have any questions about this page?
No.
Good. Let's go to the practice page. And go ahead and read the sentence here on this page.
The second soldier remembered that he had told the story of the bag to the princess.
Very good reading. The vocabulary word today is remembered. And that just means to think of something again. So if you have lots of memories in your head, but when you remember something, maybe like you're remembering a friend or remembering something you did yesterday. Okay, so you can put a check by vocabulary because we know what that means. So that's good. Then you know what to do here. So go ahead and write these in. And there's 4 of them. So I'm going to let you find them all by yourself. And then you can check me and see if they're the same.
Thus?
Yes.
That's 4 of them.
All those, huh? The.
The.
That was easy. All right, let's go on to nouns. Where are the nouns?
Soldier.
Yes.
Story.
Yes.
And I'm thinking of bag.
Yes, and then there's one more.
Princess.
Yes. Good. That's 4 nouns. There is also one pronoun. Do you know where the pronoun is?
Of.
No, remember, pronoun is the word that takes the place of a noun. So it could be like it or he or she, something like that.
Oh, I found one.
Which one?
He.
Yes, there it is. PR for pronoun. Okay, good. And then adjective. And those are the words that describe the noun. So what's a word that describes soldier?
The second?
Yes, very good. Because if you ask yourself which soldier, the second soldier, that tells you the adjective. Very good. Now, I always like to keep the prepositional phrases last because it's easy to find that way. So I'm going to skip the prepositional phrases, but I'll come back to that. So the next one says that clause. Do you see a that clause in here?
Yes.
Okay, which one? Can you read the whole clause to me?
That he had told the story of the bag to the princess.
Yes, good, Lizbeth. Excellent. So we're putting parentheses. That's those little curved marks. Okay, right before that. And then right on top of that, we're going to copy the word that. Okay, so we're labeling that clause that. Okay, good. Now, subject verb pairs. And I always like to find the verbs first. I think that's easier. So where are the verbs in this sentence? Told, good. That's the action.
Hmm.
He already has, it's a pronoun. We already labeled that one. So look for words we haven't labeled yet. And think about an action or helping or linking type word.
Remembered?
Yes, remembered. That's an action. And then there's one more, and it is actually a helping verb. So it comes right before told.
Story?
No, right before. So what is this word right here?
Add?
Had. Remember, that was one of the words on the list for helping verbs. So had told, it's a helping verb. It's helping this verb told. Had told. Okay. Those are all the verbs. You got it. Good job. And now we need to find the subjects. And that's when you look at the verb and then you ask yourself who or what. So if I look at remembered, who was it that remembered?
The soldier?
Yes. So we're going to put an S on top of the N because it's a noun and it's a subject. Okay. That's the only time you have two things on top of the word is if it's a noun and a subject or pronoun and a subject. So if I look here, had told, who had told? Who was it that had told the story?
The soldier?
It is, you're right about that, but in this clause, it's this word, he. There you go. So the subject, because remember, each clause has its own subject too. So you have the main subject, which is the soldier, but then inside the clause right here, there's another subject and it's he, it's a pronoun. Good. Okay, that's it for that. Now, the way to find the prepositional phrases is to look for the words that don't have anything above it yet. And then it's just the preposition is the word that doesn't have a label yet, and it goes all the way to the first noun. So do you see any prepositional phrases here?
Yes.
Okay, which one?
Of the bag?
Yes, good, Elizabeth. That's one. Where's the other one?
To the princess?
Yes, good. Woohoo! You're so smart. That's both of them. And then, of course, we need that first letter to be capital. So we'll put 3 lines under the T. And then the end mark, what should we put at the end here?
A period?
A period. Very good. Okay, that's it. Now you can write it down here. I'll give you a minute to do that.
Done.
Okay, good job. You can put your grammar away now. That was it. So your homework for grammar is going to be the next 3 pages like you usually do, okay? And before I forget, next week is spring break. So we won't have class next week, okay? But then after Easter, we'll have our next class again, okay? Okay, good. So in your binder, go ahead and get out everything that you have for camels, like this page. It should be at the front where we keep everything. And then you should have this, which is what we started last week, the KWO, the keyword outline. And you need this one, which is the checklist for camels. Checklist, the story, and your keyword outline. Just those 3 things is what you need, okay? Okay. So last week, we read this story, and this was the longest story we've done so far. We've never really done a 2-paragraph story. So this one has one big paragraph here at the beginning, and then where it says humans, that's another paragraph. So this one has 2 paragraphs. And last week, we started working on the keyword outline. And we set it up a little bit different than you're used to because we used Roman numerals. Remember, we talked about these Roman numerals, okay? And so each one of these represents a paragraph. So this is for paragraph 1, and this one is for paragraph 2. And so I want to keep working on this with you. Each sentence is going to have key words that we write down on your outline. So remember the rules, you can only do 3 key words, but what are the things we can do for free? Do you remember?
A symbol?
Yes, good. Symbol is one thing you can do for free. What else?
I forgot.
You forgot? That's okay. Numbers, you can do numbers for free. Symbols, numbers, and then abbreviations. That's kind of probably a new one to you, but like when you shorten a word and you just put a few letters and then a dot, that means abbreviation. So you could do numbers and symbols and abbreviations for free, but you can only have 3 words. Like, look at this one right here. We put a C with a circle around it. Do you remember what that stands for?
Camels?
Yes, because we did that in the title too. So anytime we do a C with a circle, that means it stands for camels. Good. Okay, so we're on number 3 here. And that's going to be the 4th sentence, because if you count this one, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's look here. We got that first sentence, 1, 2, 3. We're on the sentence that starts right here with "it is found." Do you see that sentence on your paper too? It is found.
Yes.
Okay, good. Can you read just that one sentence for me?
It is found in northern Africa, throughout the Middle East, and in parts of Australia.
Nice. Excellent reading, Elizabeth. You're such a great reader. I'm impressed. Okay, so this is going to be a kind of a hard one because there's a lot of good key words in there, but we can only pick 3 unless we do some things for free, like an abbreviation or something like that. So what do you think we should choose in that sentence for our outline? I can help you if you need help.
I'm thinking parts. The parts of Australia.
Parts of Australia. Okay, I do think we need to have Australia, probably the places, right? So we need Africa, Middle East, and parts of Australia. So, but I feel like we need the word found too, because that's telling us where they are. So let's put found first on number 3. So, right, can you see mine here, found? And then we'll put a comma. And then I have an idea because I don't think we need northern. We can just put, let's see, if we put Africa, I kind of think since we only have 2 words left, what if we just put Africa and Australia? Does that sound good?
Yeah.
We don't have to mention the Middle East, even though that is where they're found too, but that's okay. Let's just put Africa, comma, and then Australia. And that'll help us remember because we can see that they're found in Africa and Australia. Okay, good. Okay, after the word Australia, go ahead and read that sentence once you're done writing that down.
A second species in the
Bactrian.
Bactrian
Huh?
family.
Good. Okay, what should we put for that?
I think species.
Species. Good. And before we write it, let's talk about it. Species and what else?
Bacterial family.
Yeah, Bactrian. I know that's a weird word, huh?
Yeah.
Bactrian. I think so too. What if we did, because we already have a symbol for camel, so we could do the C for that. What if you did second species, Bactrian, and then we do a C with a circle? Okay, so for number 4, let's put second, comma, species, comma, and then that word Bactrian, and a C with a circle. Okay, once you have that down, let me know.
I'm done.
Okay, and I just saw your note that you texted me earlier that you want to show me something at the end of class.
Yes.
Yes, you can. So remind me at the very end, okay? Okay. Next sentence. This one's going to be easier. It starts right here with it. It has.
It has 2 humps on its back.
That's pretty easy. What should we put?
Humps.
Humps? Well, we get 3 words. So what can we put for our 3 words?
2 humps and back.
Yes, let's do that. And I'm going to spell out the word 2. Just so I know when I go to write it, I'm going to spell it that way. So 2, I like that. 2 humps back. That's easy. Okay. Now the next sentence is right here. And this big word is domesticated. So right where it says also domesticated.
Also domesticated, it is found mainly in the rocky deserts of Central and East Asia.
Good. Yep. That's a lot of information. It's going to be hard to only pick 3 words. So
I think desert.
yeah, I like that too. I kind of think we need that word found again too. I think that's going to help us. So what if we said found deserts? What's the 3rd word, do you think?
I think East Asia, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, let's put found deserts. By the way, when you write deserts, make sure you only put 1 S in the middle, because if you have 2 S's, that's desserts. Exactly. Totally different thing. So we want to make sure we do the right one. Found deserts. And then what if we did just an E with a dot and then Asia? Can you remember that E stands for East? Okay. Let's do that. E dot and then Asia. That'll work. That way we still only have 3 words. Okay. And then the next sentence, when you're ready, go ahead and read the next one.
Third species in the wild Bactrian camel.
Yes. What do you think we should put for that one?
I think species.
Yes.
And third.
I think 3rd too. Yeah, maybe we could do, have you ever seen it written like a number 3 and then an RD? Have you seen it like that before? Like this.
I think.
It looks like this, a number 3 and then RD. Have you ever seen 3rd written like that before?
Yeah.
Okay. That way we don't have to count that because it's a number. So I agree. So 3rd, and then we'll write the word species. And then we have 2 words left. What do you think we should put there?
I think wild.
I think so too. And then Bactrian. Yeah, I like it. Wild Bactrian. I'm putting a capital B because that's the name of it. And then I'm going to put a C again with a circle. The wild Bactrian camel, like that. Okay. Good. Okay, next sentence.
Okay. It lives in remote regions.
That word is regions.
Regions of the Gobi Desert.
Yes, the Gobi Desert. Yep. It lives in remote regions of the Gobi Desert. Okay. What do you think?
I think lives.
I think lives too. And then I think we need the name of the desert, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that. Lives and then Gobi Desert. So when you write Gobi, well, we'll do lives first. And then Gobi is going to be a capital G. And then desert is going to be a capital D. So lives Gobi Desert. So here's the thing, when you go to write this later, you don't have to remember the words like remote region and things like that, because you're just basically giving your own report about camels. So if you just say, They live in the Gobi Desert. That's fine. Okay. That'll help you. All right. And then the last sentence starts right here with only.
Only about 1,000 wild
Bactrian.
Bactrian camels remain, and they are considered critically endangered.
Yes, good. Critically endangered. I think we talked about that last time, but have you ever heard of the word extinct before? Extinct? Yeah. So what is something that you know is extinct now?
A dodo bird.
A what?
A dodo bird.
A dodo bird. Are they extinct now? I didn't
think.
know that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Those are
good.
camels.
They don't have any more anywhere. They're extinct. They're gone. Okay, so when something is critically endangered, it means they're almost extinct, but they're not extinct yet, but almost. Yeah. You look like a dying dinosaur, huh? Exactly. Okay, so what are we going to choose for the last one for that keyword outline there?
Endangered.
Endangered. I think that's important. Yeah. Let's talk about it before we start writing. But yes, endangered. You think critically too? Critically endangered? Okay.
Thousands.
Thousands. Okay. Okay. What if we did 1,000, like writing out the number 1,000? And then we don't have to count it. That we could do that for free. And then what if we do 1,000 remain and then critically endangered? You like that idea? So we'll start with the number 1,000. And then we need the word remain. That just basically means they're still alive. And then we can put critically endangered. 1,000 remain critically endangered.
Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna pause there for a minute. We're gonna save this next one for later. And we're just gonna look at this first Roman numeral 1, which is the first paragraph. So let's go ahead and start writing your paragraph so we can talk about a couple things as we're writing. So go ahead and get out a clean piece of paper.
Okay.
Clean, new piece of lined paper.
Uh-huh.
And you know what to do. Put your name. Oh, I'll wait till you get it.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what to do here. Put your name at the top left. Good job. Okay, so right where I have the line, that's where you put your name at the top there on the left. And then after you put Lizbeth, and you can put your last name too. Then you put the date right underneath that, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And today's March 30th.
Okay.
Got it? Okay. And then you're going to skip a line. And you're going to go down 2 lines, actually. Right here, we're just going to draw a spot for a title, but we're not going to put a title yet. Okay, so we're just going to draw a line like that. Just to hold a spot for a title, because you are going to pick a new title when you're done writing. And now you're going to skip a couple lines again, 2 lines here. And we're going to start writing. I'm going to help you start writing this. So the very first Roman numeral 1 right here is the first sentence, okay? Because that means it's the topic of that paragraph. This is what we're writing about. So we have here 3 types camels. How can you make that into a complete sentence?
There are 3 types of camels?
Yes. Okay, so when you skip 2 lines here, you're going to indent. So we're going to leave a space, and then you're going to start about right here with the word there. See how I left a space here? And you're going to write, there are 3. We're going to write out the number 3 types of camels. And by the way, it's okay if you go a little bit past that pink line, because see how I was kind of in the middle of my word. I don't want to break up the word. So it's okay to go a little bit past, but you don't want to keep going to the edge of the paper, because then it gets hard to read. So I'm going to now go on to the next line. And remember, we need to double space. Remember that? So does it help you to put X's in between to remind you to double space? Does that help?
Yes.
So right here, we'll just put a little tiny X there. And that means don't write on that space. We're going to go down below that X. And one of my students told me it was easier to just put all the X's in. Do you want to write all the X's in first?
Yeah.
Okay, so every other line, so you got to make sure to skip and put an X, and then skip X, skip X, and go all the way to the bottom of your page. Make sure you skip. She says that's easier for her because then she won't forget. So we might as well do that. So every skip a line, put an X, skip, X, skip, X, skip, X. So it looks like that. Is that how yours looks? Okay, good. Let me see. Hold it up a little closer. Yes, yes, I see that. Perfect. Okay. So now we're done with this one. With Roman numeral 1, we already did that. So now we're going to go on to regular number 1 here. It says most common camel dromedary. So how would you put that in your own words?
The most common camel is the dromedary?
Yes, I like it. So make sure you go after that X right here. The most common camel is the, and then dromedary is not capital in the story, in the original article. So I'm not going to make a capital D. And I know that dromedary is a big word. So for me, I'm going to go down, but you might have enough room here. So you might write smaller than me. But put it wherever you think it will go. The most common camel is the dromedary.
Okay.
Okay, so one thing I forgot to tell you, it helps me to keep track of where I am on my outline if I cross it out like this. I'm going to put an X over the 1 because I already wrote that sentence. And I'm going to put an X over that one because I already wrote that sentence. Now I know I'm here. Okay, so this is the next one we would need to work on. Did you forget something?
No, it's because like interest.
Oh, okay. So the next one says domesticated thousands of years, or years, basically. Domesticated thousands years. How can we make that into a whole sentence?
Um, um, I don't know. I do not know.
Okay, that's okay. I forgot to ask you, do you know what domesticated means? It's a big word. I forgot to tell you about that. So, domesticated is a big fancy word, which means the opposite of wild. So, like your dog and your cat, they're domesticated, right? You can cuddle with them, you can play with them, they're not going to hurt you. Maybe accidentally hurt you, but not they won't attack you. Like, let's say if you're outside and there's a snake, like a rattlesnake, they can attack you and hurt you, right? They can bite you and then you could get hurt. So those are wild, but a domesticated animal also means you can train them. If you think about a horse can be wild. They can live out in the hills by themselves, right? They can be wild like that. But if you have one on your farm, you can train them. You can train them how to walk with the headstall, and the bit in their mouth and the reins and everything. You can teach them how to walk and how to run and turn and back up. So that means they're domesticated because you can train them. Okay. So that's true for camels too. Sometimes there's camels in the wild in like the Arab countries, in East Asia areas. They can be wild where they live by themselves, but then you can also train them to walk with a halter and you can ride on them. Have you ever seen those at the fair before where you can ride on the back of a camel?
I think we went to one of those rides when my brother was like growing up.
Oh,
But
that's
I
not good.
think
Oh, yeah, that's okay.
this.
But you probably saw them before, yeah. Anyway, that's what domesticated means. So you can use this word domesticated thousands years. So you can say it has been domesticated for thousands of years. That's how you would use that in a sentence, okay? So we'll start with it. It, and then we're going to put has been. By the way, those are helping verbs, has been. And then domesticated, that big word. For thousands of years.
Okay.
Okay, good. Now we can cross that one out. Number 2, we're done with that. Now we're on to number 3. We have found Africa, Australia. So how can we turn that into a sentence? Found Africa, Australia.
It is found in Africa and Australia.
Yes, good. I like it. We'll keep going here. Oops. That should be it. It is found. And don't forget to skip your lines, okay?
Done.
Okay, good. Let's put an X over number 3. Got that. Okay, we're going to do one more together, and then I'm going to do something different with you. Okay, so this is the last one for today. It says second species Bactrian, and then we have the symbol for camel.
The second camel species is the Bactrian camel.
Yes, I think you could just say the second species is the Bactrian camel. So I think that's good. That's perfect. Okay, so let's write that. Species, by the way, is kind of like breed. Like if you have a dog, there's certain breeds like Chihuahua, and then there's like Lab or Golden Retriever. There's different types of
A Labradoodle?
Or a Labradoodle, exactly. Do you have one of those?
No, but I do have 2 poodles.
Okay,
But
those are cute.
They don't have puppies.
Oh, we used to have one. She was called a Pomchi, and she was a Pomeranian Chihuahua mix. So her name was, she was a Pomchi. Yeah. She was kind of bigger than that. She was probably, I don't know, like that size. She still was small enough you could pick her up. She was, yeah. But she got old and died, but she had a long life though, and she was a great dog. Okay, so let's put the second species is the Bactrian camel.
Done.
Okay, and then let's cross out 4 before we forget, because we're done with those now. Now, we're going to just look at what we wrote so far. So can you read what you have so far?
There are 3 types of camels. The most common camel is the dromedary. The dromedary.
Uh-huh.
It has been domesticated.
That's a hard word. It's domesticated. Start with domesticated.
Domesticated.
There you go. You got it.
Lived for thousands of years. It is found in Africa and Australia. The second species is the Bactrian camel.
Yes, good. So it sounds really good so far. This is a good report because you're learning about camels and now you're telling in a report about camels. So I want you to look really quick at the checklist. This is page 45. I think you got this out earlier. And this is the checklist for camels. You have it? Okay,
Yep.
Good. And the top part here, I just want to go over this with you really quick. You already put your name and date in the upper left-hand corner because you put it right here, which is the right spot. So you can put a little check inside that box right there because you did that, okay? It says composition double spaced, and so far you're doing that, but you're not done yet. So I wouldn't check it yet because you still are going to keep writing until you're all the way done. So leave that one blank. And then it talks about the title, and we're not ready for the title yet. So you're going to leave that part blank too. And then this one, you don't have to worry about because that's only if we were meeting in a classroom together. So, but I want you to look down here where it says style. And then it says dress up. So you see that part right there? And it says underline one of each. So what is the first dress up right here? What is that right there?
Ly adverb?
Yes. So an ly adverb, remember those have an ly at the end and they tell a little bit more about the verb, right? So we need to find a spot here. We're just going to find in what we already wrote. You're going to write more later, but the first thing you do for an ly adverb is look for a verb. And remember, those are the action words. So do you see any verbs in here yet that we wrote? Action words?
No.
Okay, I see one right here. Found. That's a verb. Found is a verb. And then this big one, domesticated, but I know that's a hard word. So let's focus on found. When you find something, that's an action, right? You're like, hey, I've been looking for that stuffed animal. I found it finally, right? So when you find something, that is a verb. So now I want you to think of an ly word. So like the sentence says it is found in Africa and Australia. You could say something like it is surprisingly found in Africa, or you could say it is mostly found in Africa and Australia, or it's usually found in Africa and Australia. Which one do you think we should put there?
Mostly.
Mostly. Okay, so what I'm going to have you do is draw. Remember we talked about the caret? It looks like a little tiny V, but it's right here. And then you're going to put in the space above it, put the word mostly, like that. That's a good one. I like it. And then if you look at your checklist right here, it says underline one of each. So you need to underline the adverb. So we're going to underline mostly like that. Awesome. You're doing great. Okay. So then the other dress up word, what is right underneath that?
Which clause?
Who, which clause. And remember, we use who when we're talking about a person or a pet. And then we use which when we're talking about an animal that's just being an animal, right? That just isn't just being an animal. Yeah. So these camels that we're talking about, they're just being camels. They're not necessarily pets that have personality and stuff. So we're going to think of a spot where we can use which. So let's look and see here. We're going to look for where we can maybe combine a sentence and say, let's see, there are 3 types of camels. The most common camel is a dromedary. It has been domesticated for thousands of years. So what if we combine those 2 sentences? The most common camel is the dromedary. It has been domesticated for thousands of years. Can we put which in there? See if you can figure out how to put those together and use which. How could you do that?
Which it has been domesticated for thousands of years.
I agree, but I don't think we need it. We can say the most common camel is the dromedary, which has been domesticated for thousands of years. That would work. Okay, so now what I want you to do is just draw a line through it like that. We're going to cross that out. And then we're going to write which above it. And I'm going to show you a little symbol. When you take away a punctuation mark like a period, it looks like this. It's like a little squiggly line. That means, you see what I did right there? It's a little squiggly line. It means you take away that, it's like a loop. It goes down and around like a little streamer at a birthday party. Yeah, exactly. So now it says, The most common camel is the dromedary, which has been domesticated for thousands of years. It is mostly found in Africa and Australia. It looks pretty good, but remember on our checklist, it does say underline one of each. So we already underlined the ly adverb. By the way, in this first box right here under the number 1, you can put a check mark there because you got that. And now we have a which clause right here, so we need to underline it. So make sure you underline which, like that. You don't have to underline the whole clause, just the word which. Yeah. And then you can put a check mark here under number 1, the first box, next to who, which, because you got that already too. So you got those things already done. Okay. I know we went a little bit long today, but your homework is going to be to finish these sentences right here, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You're going to keep writing on this paragraph. You're going to keep going, okay? And think of sentences. So remember, you got to think of the sentence first and then write it down. Bless you. And then your grammar pages. So that's your homework this week. And then next week, we don't have class. Okay. So we're done. And I know you wanted to show me something. Oh, and I just now saw your note that you don't like snakes. I don't like snakes either. So they scare me.
They're scary.
They're scary. Do you want to show me something?
Yeah, let me just take off the chat. Okay.
Okay.
I will spill. I
Aww.
just got this today.
That is so cute.
I got it from Walmart.
It's like a little Dalmatian, huh? Aww. And it looks like some of the spots almost look like hearts, huh? Aw, that's so cute. Is it a boy or a girl?
I think it's a girl.
You think it's a girl? Does she have a name yet, or you haven't decided yet?
I haven't decided.
That's okay. That's so cute. My daughter, she still loves stuffed animals, and she's 24 years old. But she used to have her bed covered with stuffed animals, and she loved to sleep with them and play with them all the time. That's cute. Thank you for showing her to me. She's cute. She has blue eyes too, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Ah. Okay, Elizabeth, I'm going to turn off